Welcome to another exciting episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. And we definitely got another great entrepreneur in the building today. Before we bring him up, I need to remind you that this episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast is sponsored by Shield Wolf Strongholds, a wealth growth and protection company when it comes to employee benefits, when it comes to retirement plans, when it comes to estate plans, when it comes to life insurance. If your plan ain't Shield Wolf, your plan ain't strong. Make sure you visit shieldwolfstrong.com. All right. Our guest, Sam Sky, very cool name. Definitely what you should know about Sam's. All right, great. That's what happens when you start, when you end one podcast and start it right with the next one.
Listen,
but let me tell you about Sam Sky. I know you get it. Let me tell you about Sam Sky. Let me tell you about yourself, Sam. Sam Sky is the founder of Credit CRB, which is known for the highest level credit repair in the country, serving judges, politicians, wealthy business people, agents, and more. Secondly, they are the top tier business loan broker team specializing in low interest business loans, even if there are blemishes on your credit. Real deal. Sam Sky has sued and won or settled lawsuits with Equifax, Best Buy, Verizon, and more. Separately, Mr. Sky won a foundation-rocking case against Suncoast Credit Union that put all lenders on notice. Author of the famous The Credit Book, his accolades are on the company website, and the list is long. Podcast hosts such as myself, the reason why we booked Sam Sky is because he doesn't just talk about credit and debt. He demystifies it. He bridges the gap between business owners that want to scale, and some have challenges with complex financial needs, all the way to everyday entrepreneurs who want the best rates and want to expand and align their business growth implementation plans. Listeners will walk away assuredly and dynamically informed from each conversation with dozens of solid nuggets that can immediately implement to better their business and personal positions. I wish I read your bio before I just started to say it and massacre it. But thank you so much, Sam Sky, for coming on the Entreprenudist Podcast.
Randolph, I appreciate you having me. And I hope your audience also appreciates all the hard work, the people that you interview, the great tools that you provide to them to better their lives as well.
Definitely. What's something that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
Well, that's a good one. I'd have to say certainly continue to hire people. A lot of people, especially if you have overseas people, they fade out. They'll get different offers. They don't give you notices. Sometimes, their work ethic changes. So sometimes it's really better to be ahead and have a few too many people. So tasks don't get dropped. They don't stay on your task list for 2 years or longer. I'd have to say that would probably be one of the big ones.
So keep hiring people. All right. So would you say, what are instances to where somebody might feel, or that you felt it was okay to stop hiring, but it bit you in the butt?
Yeah, for example, like when you've got a really good credit repair team and you feel like you can work in some other places like marketing, but then you have some of the team get paid or they get a bonus. They don't come in Friday. They don't come in Monday. Then you see them on a platform like Online Jobs bragging about all the new stuff that they learned and trying to market to different companies. So you can go on and on and on. There's all kinds of stories, but it's definitely, with AI, that advice may be a little outdated because now you really want to find how to automate and how to AI a lot of the tasks. But for over the years, that would have saved me a lot of grief, Randolph, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. So it sounds like what you're saying, you can be in a position because I guess now we're in the gig economy where you don't really have people working for the same company 30, 40 plus years. They're really just going from company to company, learn something and then go to another company and just raise up their salary just a little bit.
That's correct.
Now, I know when people meet you and you tell them what they do, the first thing most people probably say, because I think a lot of people with great credit, they might be like, oh, that's great that you do that. But usually the people that probably respond to you immediately are people with bad credit. What is your definition of bad credit and how do y'all fix that?
Well, I'll tell you, it just depends on what your goals are. A lot of our clients have just a few blemishes. They have a lot of accounts. They might have 40, 80, 100 plus different accounts. They might have 6 different houses across the country. They could have a whole host of things, but a utility doesn't get paid or they get frustrated and don't pay a dentist bill and there's a $4,000 dental bill on there. So it's usually not that much, but a lot of times also we get referred by a lot of bankers. And if banks turn someone down for a business loan and they felt they were going to get approved, because what a lot of people don't understand is when you go into a bank and you ask to apply for a business loan, you say, do I have a good chance of getting approved? The applicant doesn't realize that the commercial loan officer or senior loan officer is always going to say almost all the time, yes, you're probably going to get approved. We're very generous because they know the more applications they can bring in, the more likelihood that there's going to be some that close and they can get an extra bonus. So you really want to talk to at minimum a VP, but some senior high level executives up the chain, because there are different types of lenders that are either conservative or conservative with flexible programs, or my personal favorite, very flexible and want to grow and more the risk takers. So, we've gotten people approved with banks, with a 609, 604 credit score that they thought they would never get approved for, but their books looked good. They had a lot of problems with COVID. They had a couple deaths in the family. We showed all this. We showed the revenue. They came back with an 8.9% interest rate. It's not prime at 7%, and you can get below prime with banks. But typically, you're looking at a $5 million loan or more if you want anything substantial, like a point or two under prime. They're still making money. They don't care. A lot of people don't even know you can go below prime. But at 8.9%, we don't have to get them to middle of the road banks where they're going to be looking at 10 to 25% interest, saves them a ton of money, and we only get 1 point on our loans. So, it's our job is to get them the absolute lowest rate possible, whatever we can get them. So once they approve it and they get access to the funds, then we get our points.
And you mentioned prime. What is prime for people that don't know?
Typically 7%. Depends on what the inflation rate is, the interest rates, the GDP, gross domestic product, if it's going up or if it's going down. And banks will certainly fluctuate. And there's something called liable. So they look at the different books, but the Federal Reserve comes back and establishes what the interest rate is.
Okay, so is it really possible that a bank would loan somebody money 1, 2, 3 points below prime? Is that possible?
3 points, you're looking at a substantial amount of money, but absolutely it's possible. The bigger numbers, certainly they'll do it. When they can loan 9 times their reserves, they don't care. And also if they're even borrowing it at 3 points, from the government, they're making money hand over fist either way. But they definitely they take advantage of the unsavvy business owner. But if you're looking at loans like $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, don't expect to get below prime. I mean, unless you're buddy with the bank president, it becomes a lot more difficult at that point.
Okay, so it's possible, but you may or may not have to put up more money. You may or may not have to have some connections inside the bank.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So I don't have any connections, but I want to get some credit cards. I'm a business owner. Are you able to help people with that? And how does that work?
Yeah, there's actually 2 types when it comes to business. There's business credit cards and there's business charge cards. So if you take a look at your ones like Ramp that are 0%, but what they do is they do of factoring at 0% for 30 days. You don't want to go past 30 days. Some will go as high as 60 days, but you have to pay the full amount, similar to American Express. On business credit cards, ideally, you want to get the 0% credit cards. They go from 6 to 18 months at 0%. They don't go past 18 months. Some people want 24 months at 0%. I've never seen it. But most of them are right around 12 months. But at 12 months, you can't go wrong at 0%. Now, every CPA and every certified financial planner will tell the business owner, you can't transfer money from your personal credit report to your business credit cards because it's from personal to business. Now, I, for one, I'm not going to say I'm a CPA or an attorney in your state. I will state this, though. I'm very confident that if you claim that your debt on your personal credit cards are from business expenses, of course you can transfer it to your business credit cards. And when you transfer it, your scores go back up on your personal. Now, when you're dealing with smaller credit unions, some are business-only credit unions. Actually, it's 95% business. They still do personal. If you do some smaller banks that are flexible, you have to do a little bit of homework because they're either going to check your Dun & Bradstreet or your Equifax Experian business credit report, or they don't. They're going to for sure check your personal, but very rarely do they check the UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code filings. So on these loans, on these business credit cards, they'll do a ding, an inquiry on your personal credit. But since our clients sign on with us for 3 years, we can get them those business credit cards. We can go back and delete the credit inquiries. We can get them to another flexible bank, put money in that account, set up a personal and a banking account, minimal amount, get them another 2 credit cards of $50,000 each. Now they have $200,000 at 0% for the next 12 months. And if you want to be even more advantageous, we can clean up those inquiries and you can even do it a third time. Now, if they're checking, now normally the credit cards don't report to the UCC filing, so they'll never even see it anyway. They'll never know. Your bigger loans, depending on what they check, they may or may not see it, but you can take a loan. Can I give you one more example of a way to take advantage?
Of course.
Let's say we get somebody an SBA $350,000 loan or line of credit. We can take that money to another bank, take it out, and say, hey, listen, we want to secure the $350,000, and we want 2 loans. We want a loan for $350,000, the secured loan, and then we want an additional $350,000 unsecured. But without saying it, you're basically saying, hey, look, we're respectable, we've got money, so loan us the money. And they're very confident if you have $350,000, you're not out to rip off the bank. So now you get an extra $350,000. But here's where the professional business loan broker comes in, Randolph. An average person would get an interest rate of 7% and 7%. The smart business loan broker will say, hey, listen, you're a friend of Randolph? Let me come in and let me get you 3.75% because we're going to argue that it's a CD secured loan. CD secured rate is 3.75% interest. Now you save over 3% on the $100,000, which is $3,000 a year over 10 years. It's, but actually at $300,000, it's more than that. So it's $9,000 a year, $10,000 a year, and over 10 years, it's $100,000 in your pocket of just one loan. You may not touch that second unsecured line of credit at 7%, but now you have the leverage going and you're saving a ton of money.
Man, as you're talking, I'm definitely knowing that I'm going to be introducing some people to Sam Sky because what you're saying is a lot of people don't realize a lot of these business loans, and you probably have more access to different, you definitely have more access, but a lot of times they say you have to have at least a 700 credit score before they even talk to you. But it sounds like that's not your world.
Not my world at all.
Is it not possible to have multiple SBA loans, 4 or 5 SBA loans?
5. Let me tell you something that I just learned. There's a lady named, I'll say it anyway. Her name is Althea. She runs the entire Florida SBA. All right. She is a superb lady. She's generous. She's smart. She's phenomenal. And I called her up probably less than 6 months ago. And I said, I've got a client with 4 SBA loans. He thinks we can get him a 5th. I said, is that even possible? And this is what she told me. She goes, when was his last loan? Was it during COVID? I said, let me check. And I said, yeah. She goes, was it a pandemic emergency? I said, I don't know. I've got to ask him. Contact him, ask him. Come. She goes, we can get him a fifth one. Who would have thought? But if you don't ask, you don't learn. If you don't have the right connections, you might not know who to ask. It might not even be in Google or AI.
Closed mouths don't get fed, sounds like.
Man, I got to tell you something. I'm very blessed that she is such a generous and open communicating person. She's a gift. But we do all 50 states.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so all right. So doing all 50 states, when I hear all 50 states, I start thinking about federal. I start thinking about government. Are there any government loans that you can utilize to buy property with no money down and not even no money down, get cash at closing?
Yes. I'll give you one right example. And then what I'd love to do is jump to our 2-tier level affiliate program for your viewers to make a lot of money.
Okay. A
lot of money. All right. Okay. There's something called an SBA 504. An SBA 504 loan is fantastic. It's a 50-40 split. The government and the bank split the liability. The bank gives the full loan, and it's designed for 90% down and 10% at closing. Now, people talk about, can you do cross collateral? Do you have to have the cash? Here's an example, Randolph, where 3 banks can change everything. A conservative bank can say the client has to have a 700 credit score or we won't touch them. And they have to have the reserves for 6 months or longer of 10% that we have to see. They can't borrow the money or we don't give them the loan. Then you can go to a moderate bank of flexibility. And they'll say, you know what? If his credit is above a 660 or 670 and the appraisal checks out, we'll give him, because we're guaranteed half the loan, we can't lose, we're going to give him a second on the mortgage of the 10%. He can come back in with no money down. Now, the real flexible bank, which is exactly what you touched on so brilliantly, which is huge, is getting money back at closing. What you need to have that done is you need to have something called seller financing. So if the seller says, I'll take 30% down, you come in and you say, Mr. Seller, I'll give you a better deal. How about I give you 50% down and we make this deal close? And he says, okay. Now he's going to hold the 40% note, but the other 50% note. But here's the challenge. Here's the big challenge is, according to the SBA rules, he cannot attach the lien afterwards. That's called a workaround. They can't do it. What he can do legally is he could sell his interest on that note to his Uncle Joe or his buddy Brian Thompson or his brother Michael or whatever it is, preferably not as an individual, but as a separate business. They can then record the lien and the money is secured. It's 100% legal, just can't cross the lines. You got to take the extra work and do the extra work and do it the right way. Now he's only getting 50%. 10% is getting funded on the back end as the gift to you as the second mortgage. They'll apply it. You get 40% back at closing. You buy a $2 million property, you get $400,000 minus closing costs, title fees, insurance, etc., back at closing. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, you could also apply for a second line of credit. But it's a great, easy way to get the repair money. But the reason I like that so much is because the SBA 504, what people don't know, and you can Google this, is it's 2.5 points under prime. So you're getting that loan for 4.5%. Do it for 20 years. You can't lose. And your payments are minimal.
This is just so far, because we haven't even gotten into the stuff that I have that prepared me for this meeting that you and your team are able to accomplish. But so far, you're saying stuff that seems extraordinary, right? But you saying it so confidently and on a public stage, it must be true. How did you learn this stuff?
Through a lot of tears, a lot of pain, a lot of mistakes. You know, it's interesting. your best teachers are the ones that steal your deals.
Mm.
And then you go back and you thank them for stealing your deals, because it's a gift that you get to learn how to become better and better, and you see the nuances. And when you go back and you talk to an old client that didn't sign up with you, and you said, oh, well, my team broker is doing this for me now, this and this. And I'm like, really? Oh, you can do that? Now I have to make more phone calls. So it's just being a student of the game. It's time, it's success, it's hunger, and you want to get the best deals for your clients. That's it. It's huge. You know, it gives you really good joy to watch them be plenty capitalized, because you see a lot of businesses get choked out from being undercapitalized, and they can have a better product, they can have a better service, they can have a smarter owner. But you better get yourself some money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the best way to make money is by helping other people make money. But in your instance, by helping other people get money. And I know the best way for these businesses to keep getting money is to honor their obligations. But, you know, sometimes things happen. Correct. For whatever reason, they can't honor that obligation. What would you say are some of the most common stipulations when it comes to a forgivable loan?
I would say the most common is this: you can't sell your business for the next 3 years. So if you get a $200,000 forgivable loan to buy that property, and you sell your business within 3 years. I had a lady not too recently got a very, very large offer. She took the offer. She paid $600,000 back to the government. Did not care. Said, I don't care. So, you know, that is the most common stipulation. Let me ask you this. Can I talk briefly about a couple other services and what your clients can do under you to get going?
Of course.
We didn't have that preliminary talk. It is your world, but I thank you for that permission. Mm-hmm. We have something called an affiliate program. An affiliate marketing, we have 2 tiers on the affiliate. We pay out 15% and 5% of what we get. And it's really never been done with services before. It's done with products or digital products, or on services, it's done with a setup fee. And we have a setup fee. But here's where the real money comes in. Our clients sign up with us for 3 years. So let's say that you had a client that was going to buy a building for a fitness gym. And she was a combat veteran, wounded, disabled from the military, minority, just all 4 home run whistles. And we get her a loan for $7 million. I'm going to talk about the grants that come with that afterwards, because we do business grants. Now, on that $7 million property, the affiliate who referred that client gets 15%. They get a 5-figure paycheck. They get over $10,000. The person who is their parent affiliate, because you can send your affiliate link out to 100 people. If you have a good, strong contact list, you can now make a fortune on that contact list, super easy, like you never have before. So if they click that link and they sign up as an affiliate on that same device within the next 60 days, they're cashed underneath you. They're recorded underneath you. So if they referred somebody in that instance, fine, they got 10,000, fine, you got over 3,000. But here's where it comes in. If we get them a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth location over those 3 years, they continually get that 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 on one client that they referred. Now on business grants, if we got her $200,000, $300,000 per location for equipment, we get paid 20%. We would get paid $40,000 or $60,000, and you would get 15% of that. So you get $6,000, $9,000, whatever it is, on each location. You could have a client. I'm not even talking about procurement or our pending contract negotiations, but you can have a client where you make $50,000 or $100,000 on the next 3 years. Some of you only might make a few $1,000s, under 10,000. Who cares? But for everyone that you're helping, it's a continual snowball. You get a whole dashboard, you see everything, and it's a great opportunity over these next 4 or 5 years as the landscape changes in the whole business world to finally find a way to take your entire contact list, work it, and make some very strong money.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity, and because especially with the knowledge that you seem to have. All right, so somebody has to sign up with you for 3 years. What does that mean, and what's the commitment on their side?
The commitment on their side is we have something called a bundle package. They buy one service and get 3 free. So we give them a credit repair setup certificate that still owe money on the back end for deletions if they want to take advantage of it. They don't have to take advantage of it. They can gift that certificate to somebody else who needs credit repair. It's part of the bundle package. They also get procurement services for any deal that they want us to come in on. So let's say they're purchasing a fleet of vehicles. Let's say they're purchasing some expensive SaaS. Let's say they're a farmer. They're buying 2 tractors, each worth $1 million, these huge monster tractors. I had a client, even on a vehicle, it was a $68,000 SUV. And he says, Sam, can you get me a better rate? I go, on one vehicle? I mean, we do 50,000 or higher is what our limit is. So technically he was in our range. I said, you probably already got a good deal. He says, I'm on my buddy's family plan. He goes, but can you get it any lower? I said, when are you needing to purchase the vehicle? He says, within a week. I said, even if we send them an LOA, in business, it's a letter of authorization. It's similar to a power of attorney or a limited power of attorney. They won't even speak to us on the business client's behalf until they authenticate or approve or validate that LOA, that letter of authorization. I said, it might not happen for 3 or 4 days. I said, I'm looking at 1 or 2. I said, it's a waste. He says, just do it. You know people. I said, listen, I said, I know the manufacturer. I said, they're out of Detroit. I said, I know them. I said, but I don't know any of their board members. I've worked with some of their executive assistants on a few deals on getting lates removed and stuff like that. I said, I've never had a direct response. He says, challenge yourself. So I go, I send it, I work it. And for the first time, I got a phone call. And he goes, Sammy, like he knows me. And I said, yeah. So we started talking. He says, what number do you need it at? I said, I would look like a superhero if you could start it with a 5. He says, it'll be $64,000, one-time offer, take it or leave it. I said, I'll take it. He says, great. He says, we got your email. I only saved the client $4,000. He paid me $800, which is $3,200. It's so small. It's so minuscule. But when I look back and I see that he did it, that $3,200 can go towards a stock, something risky like hydrogen engines or humanoid parts. We're going to be all over the place. I mean, I started thinking about that in the form of like the whole acorn story, about when you look at the acorn, you can see a tree, or you could see a forest, or you could see industry, like some of these super big wigs guys who would take a look at that acorn. So I was like, that was worth his phone call to me to do it. So I'm like, okay. So it gave me a different perspective. I was a little bit more annoyed at first, but it was a really good thing all the way around.
Oh, yeah. Hey, money is money, right? And especially when you know somebody that seems to be as, what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody that's a magic weaver, such as Sam Sky, right? And you mentioned grants, right? So are grants for rich people or are grants for poor people?
The ones who get them are rich. But who are they for? They're supposed to be for poor people. But rich people are the ones that get them. It's crazy. And you have to really dig. I'm always looking for better automation systems. I lost a lot of money trying to get this AI, this automation, to scoop from my Google Workspace and GHL folders. And we would also send a Google Doc to our clients that would fill out, and we'd have a ton of names for occupation, work for the same field. So in all these applications, we could auto fill out the applications instead of paying people in the Philippines to copy, paste, and keep moving it. These websites now have blockers that they'll put your application to spam. You can't even put it through if they detect that there was any automate. Oh my gosh, all this time wasted. It was like, it was a good kick. So we're back to old school, the old way. Now there's some new automations that I've been researching and investigating. And if you come up with another good one again, because there's higher tech stuff nowadays, it's a different world nowadays. So if they're able to find a way to bypass that, that would be awesome. But there are grants for business owners that were abused as a child, that were abused in a past relationship. Oh, it's crazy.
I almost laughed because I thought you were joking, but I'm looking at you and you're like, no, that's gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And on those types of grants, all our client has to do, and if they don't fill it out on our application, then we don't apply for them for those. They're going to need a 5 to 10, in some rare cases, a 15-minute Zoom call. They don't need police reports. They don't need medical documentation. They just need to have a conversation if you get down to typically the final 3. And I've had clients say, I don't want to do the Zoom call. And I'm thinking, this is $15,000. What are you talking
15
about?
minutes.
But we have clients that have so much money, they approve the grants program, they check it out, and then they say, no, I don't want to do it after we did all the work. But the client's always right. So you just smile and say, okay, and move on and say, okay, no more of these types of grants for this person. The different types of grants only, the more common ones. So there's a whole host of them.
Are there levels to loan broker teams? And if there are levels to loan broker teams, what are the indicators of a top tier loan broker?
I would say if your team loan broker offers different services, especially needing upfront fees, you're probably in a pretty good position. When you have ones that you will just take your applications and submit them across the board to different lenders, a lot of times they'll go with MCA, merchant cash advance loans, or things like that are very pricey, very expensive. They don't negotiate the deal. They have a very lucrative back-end partnering deal. I would say your loan broker team really should have a lot of additional services, be very well schooled, have good reviews, have speaking engagements under their belts. If they're just, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Somebody you really, really trust, and one that does a lot of low interest loans. We charge 1% on all loans. That's our fee. Now, if we do business credit cards, we do 3%. So 3% on the business credit cards is very minimal compared to a lot of companies out there. They're charged, 7, 8, 9 points on those. We charge 3 points. So it just depends. If they offer a lot and can do a lot, and they charge an upfront fee for some of those services, I'd say you're in good hands. Okay,
so and I just heard you mention upfront fee, and right, and that's a lot to make some people leave, right? What? Because I know, and forgive me if you already said it, but typically, because it sounds like, even though you're doing work for people for commission, it sounds like there is some type of monthly or annual subscription involved, or no?
No. It's a one-time fee. It's $5,000 for the bundle to do all of it. If they just want us to do business grants, it's $3,500 and 20%. If they just want us to do the business contract negotiation, it's $3,500 and 20% of what we save them. If they do it all, we make it very affordable. When there are businesses out there that don't want to pay a setup fee, we certainly wish them true happiness. There's a lot of work. We've gotten great deals for somebody that say, you know what? I don't want to buy the building anymore. I don't want to do any more loans. And I think about the extensive amount of work that we've done for this client, and we wind up getting nothing. This was back in the old days. So you make an executive decision. You say no more. They either understand the value, they're serious about it, and the people that have no problem. They're like, $5,000, go, get to work, get me the offers. Hustle, hustle, hustle. That we're on it. They're buyers, they're movers, they're shakers. They want more loans, they want more investments. Those are our kinds of clients. So if people are looking for a lot of money over the next 3 years, those are our clients. If some people are looking to really stay small, stick with their 401k, maybe invest in something, maybe not. They're looking for a loan broker. We're not for them. That's not going to be a fit for us. We want people who want to grow.
So y'all are very okay. So you're looking for people who are looking to get a lot of money over the next 3 years, and what you're saying is to them, for at least for you, it's something that you had to learn. You do a lot of work on the front end, don't get nothing from it. Whereas now you get that upfront fee, and because of your good reviews, because of your track record, because of your relationships, typically. And I'm probably sure none of your contracts say like guaranteed, but typically you and your team are able to help.
Oh, for sure. Yes to all of it.
Okay. All right. Is your family in the business?
No.
What do they do?
No. I was married once for a very short period of time. I never had any kids. So my sister's husband, he's retired. He got into teaching juvenile delinquents after his football career. He played professionally. My mom is going to be 90 years old on the 17th. So, that's really it. So, I've got I really haven't dated in a long time. I've got someone that's super special. She lives far, far, far away. I know she hasn't dated anybody, and it's not a priority to me anymore. So that was on and off for 10 or 12 years. We both have grown a lot. I'd say I've grown more. I'd say this. I'd say I was more broken, but now she's more broken. But she's come a long way, so I give her a lot of credit. It's kind of like my little joke. But it really is a journey, even to master, your own emotions, or detaching, or interrupting, or even raising your voice, even just all those little things that we're not taught as a kid, Randolph, that I'm like, man, they're still not teaching this stuff to kids. It breaks my heart. We could have such a better society. We could have such a better world, better country. But
it seems almost intentional.
Yeah.
Because you're saying they're not teaching, and because one of the things that I've discovered, and I'm still discovering, a lot of the things that we were taught as kids is actually counterintuitive to what it actually is. Like, for example, you mentioned learning a lot through your failures, and what we're taught as kids is to not fail at all. When in reality, you're supposed to fail forward. You're supposed to look for these things, because what happens to a lot of people, they fail once, and now all of a sudden they're never going to try that again. Whereas you're supposed to look for the lesson. You're supposed to have those conversations with people when you lost the deal, like the people that stole your deal, right? You're supposed to be able to take those lessons, those failures, and realize that failure isn't the opposite of success, but a part of success.
Correct. Yeah.
What do you do when you're not working?
I play with my cat. She's going to be 20 years old in May.
Man, you take care of her.
Man, she is a pistol. I hang out with some friends. I hang out with some buddies. Do a lot of good talking, and that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of extracurricular activities.
Hey, I tell you this, I'm going to say that one of those indicators of a top tier loan broker is somebody who doesn't have a lot of other activities going on. I want a loan broker like Sam that's going to prioritize me, him and his 20-year-old cat. Now it sounds like a good deal to me. What would you say your definition of success is?
I would say continual personal growth and to continually learning lessons, whether it be like a huge important lesson is to be happy for other people's success. When we really take a look at our state of mind, our bliss, or our happiness, and detached from the ego, I would say those who do some volunteer work. I was Mothers Against Drunk Driving in Oakland County, Michigan when I lived up there. I was vice president for 3 years. I was a guardian at Lightham in Florida for a couple of years for kids that were taken away from their parents. I did a lot of umpiring and refereeing Little League games, for softball and baseball, football, basketball, all that stuff. Did some coaching. I haven't done it in a while. But when we're helping the world outside our selfish social circle, besides just our close friends and our family, I think we're really getting a super strong connection. And I think everybody should take a little extra time to make the world a better place outside of their selfish social circle. And when I say selfish, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying it in a descriptive way.
Okay.
All right. That's our first choice.
Definitely. So you seem very self-aware. You also seem like you understand what really matters, which is, helping people get to where they need to do, which is getting access to that cash that they couldn't get before, right? If somebody loves what you're saying and they're very interested in your affiliate program, who is the ideal person or business owner that they should introduce you to?
That's a great question. We've helped clients as low as $20,000 and $25,000 a month in revenue. They're usually pretty tight, but if they have extra cash from who knows whatever reason, it's a great move. I would say 50,000 or more can make in revenue. You can make quicker and better jumps if they want to be more active and get more loans, more lines of credit, and more loans and more lines of credit. I would say that. And I would say ideally, on the credit repair, we have some amazing techniques, but there's one thing we typically can't get off the credit report. If somebody has sporadic lates on an open account, not where they could have been in the hospital January, February, and March, but if they were late in January, they were late in April, they were late in October, and they can't pay off the account and close it, because we can get it deleted after it's been fully paid off. But if they have an expensive vehicle that they can't pay off or expensive mortgage with sporadic lates that they can't get refinanced, we typically cannot get those lates off. They're in a very, very bad position. So they're limited in that aspect too.
So you've helped people as low as $25,000 a month in revenue, but preferably 50,000 plus. And maybe they won't be in the best position if they have sporadic lates that they can't pay off.
Correct.
Is there a question that I should have asked you that I didn't?
Woo! Probably 20. And since you're such a jerk, Randolph, I'm probably going to have to write those down in case you want to bring me back, and I'll give you a list of them. I'd say there's some really good tricks. Even I'll give like a good gem. You could have two people that have perfect credit, no blemishes. They both have low balances. They both have very few inquiries. There's nothing more they can do with their credit. But one person can be a 730 credit score. One person can be an 830 credit score. And people go, how is that? How come that person's scored 100 points higher? In the FICO algorithm, and they took this off myfico.com years and years ago. And there's now 5 different kinds of trade lines. There were 4. There's now education. Student loans used to be installment loans. They're now education loans. There's credit line, mortgage, installment, revolving. For every installment loan, for every vehicle or every boat that you buy, or if you buy furniture for 2 years or computers for a 4-year payoff, if it has a start date and an end date and is not secured by real estate and the account can't go back up, that's an installment loan. So for every installment loan, you should have 2 to 3, preferably 3 revolving accounts. So if you have a boat loan, you should have 3 credit cards. If you have a auto loan or a 2-year, 4-year, you should have 3 credit cards. 2 to 3 is great. You're going to be scored more favorably. If you have 8 installment loans and only 3 or 4 credit cards, even though you all have low balances, you may not even reach 700.
So, all right. So what I just heard you say, it sounds like, so let's say somebody has an auto loan and they only have 2 credit cards.
Two
it sounds like what you're okay. So, all right. So
they should have 3. They should have 3, but 2 is good.
All right. So the scenario you just said, if a person has an auto loan and 2 credit cards, they'll be better off getting a third one, whether they utilize it or not.
As long as they have low balances, absolutely.
Got you. Now, that's some good stuff. All right. So, hey, man, you got me. Do you have another one that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Oh, you are greedy. Let me think.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one, man, because I only have 2 credit cards. You make me want to get the third just to see what happens.
Here's another good one. If you even want one more good one, I'll give you even one more after this. I just thought of one. Mm-hmm. What people don't realize is you can vacate a judgment and you can vacate a foreclosure. Even on a bankruptcy, you can annul or I'm trying to remember the other word for it. Either way, you can cancel out
like a synonym for annul.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I mean,
it's all right. It's more common name. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
But usually on a foreclosure or judgment, depending on your state, if you're going to get it vacated, you need something called legal consideration, whether it be $1, $10, or $100. But you can work out a deal where it's vacated off your credit report, off public records, so nobody knows. It can't be reported, so you don't even have to put it down on an application ever again. And also, even in your bankruptcies, a lot of people don't know this. And I would recommend that if you're going to ever do a bankruptcy, you hire a lawyer who has experience doing this. You can include your student loans in bankruptcy. You can Google it. Can you include your student loans in bankruptcy? And the answer is yes. Now, you typically have to convince the BK trustee that for the next 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to be unable to earn enough money to pay those bills. They'll throw it in there and wipe them all out.
That's beautiful. And by the way, I looked up the synonyms for annul. We got nullify, we got invalidate, we got void, we got repeal, we got reverse, we got rescind, we got revoke, we got set aside, we got cancel, we got abolish, we got undo, and we have abrogate. I don't know if any of those.
I would say set aside. There's another word I was thinking of that starts with a D, I believe. But set aside a bankruptcy, absolutely. You can get it annulled however you want to word it. There was another word I was just thinking of. Maybe it started with an A. No, that would be annulled. There's another word. But whatever it is, I'm drawing a blank right now.
The English language is one of the, it's my native language, but I hear that the English language is one of the hardest language to learn because we like to hear ourselves talk. We got words for everything. We got synonyms and you can read it and try to sound it out. And it's not what it seems like it should be. So yeah, the English language is beautiful and we got so many words. So every once in a while, people like Sam, Sky, and myself, we don't even know, even though we have a perfectly good word to define what we're talking about, we're still going to look for another word.
Randolph, I'll tell you something too. What I would like is when you get your affiliate link with us, I'd like you to put that on the video. I'd like them to go to that. If there's anyone that you know that you gave them a different one, my IT guys can move them if they sign up off our homepage. You let me know. I'll go over that list with you if there's new signups, whatever it is. And I'll make sure we get as many people underneath you as possible. And for your audience that signs up underneath you, I'll help them get as many people off their contact list as possible to become affiliates.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you definitely got me interested. Please send me that whatever link I need to look at just so I can get more knowledgeable because I like your knowledge. I like your willingness and to share. Let's say that what I'll do is if and when me and Sam Sky do something together, I give the audience a follow up because I definitely got a little Rolodex of people that got declined because they weren't in the 700 range. So if Sam Sky knows how to wave his magic wand and help the people in the 600s, that'll be perfect. Sam, I want to thank you so much for being a guest. One last time, please tell people who you are, what do you do, and how they can get in touch.
Randolph, I appreciate that. I'm Sam Sky. I'm CEO of Credit CRB. If you need to email me direct, the best way is going to be to my office at creditcrb.com, credit CRB, like in Charlie Robert Boy.com. I'm just your average Joe pushing through, but it's a fun experience. I think that embracing the journey is a great way to look at life. We're all going to be gone in a matter of time. We got to do the best that we can for everybody. I'd like to see you grow your businesses, all of you out there, leave a nice little legacy, some great stuff for your family. And gosh darn it, live in retirement with a breath of fresh air, not holding a bag of bricks. Life is too short. We can't give up. We've got to keep going. And when you've got a podcast like this that brings you these kind of tools to help you, make sure you give him a huge thank you as well. And I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, because knowledge is only potential power. Applied knowledge is power. This has been another exciting episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, a place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. If you're listening to our voices, please make sure you check out the show notes, because you'll see more information about Sam Sky. You'll also see a link on how you can watch the video of our beautiful faces, giving you all these beautiful graces. Once again, thank you so much, Sam, and the Entreprenudist Podcast audience. Have a great night.
Thank you so much.